Kamathi. Everybody give it up for Kamathi. Yes, man of the hour. All right, so what he's going to do is he's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on with his journey and what he needs this money for, right? And thank everybody, right?
Especially all my friends for coming out. I really appreciate it. The support right now is amazing. Thank you to, especially all you guys for coming out. It really means a lot to me. Throughout my journey to college, it really means a lot, man. Like, I'm gonna have to make sure I keep up with instrument repairs, food, dorm, living expenses. It's gonna all accumulate to so much. So every penny, every dollar, even if you know I'm small, I owe you to me. It doesn't matter. I'll pay it. I owe you. Yeah, that's it. It's gonna help in the future. Anything, everything helps. But just you being in this room and staying here and listening to the jam and supporting, it all means so much to me. This means more than everything. Support me. Camaraderie takes everything. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you coming out. And just so you know, I have had questions before. Yes, the band is for hire. If you have a party, if you want to have 2 of us, 5 of us, all of us, we've got 20 pieces we can have at your party. But that also helps to feed this young man, getting work, getting showed off. So, all right, let's go.
Hello everybody, thank you for coming out. I'd like to draw everyone's attention to my wife sitting back there, Nicole, stand up. There she is. Thank you, ladies, for donating. Thank you, ladies. I'm going to bring Nicole around and introduce her to all of you little by little. And right now we're doing a change of setup. We're bringing Kayla Jasmine up on the bass guitar. Give it up for Kayla.
Should be good. That's good. Yeah.
Hold on. I put $100,000 in the test run.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joel Greenblatt. These are the Jazz Cats. Let's give them a round of applause. We got all our horn players up here, including Spider-Man. I'm going to come around with the tip jar. The tips are going to be for the band. And Lauren, come up here, Lauren. Lauren's going to come around with a QR code if anybody wants to donate. And if you want to give some money to the Mafia, you can come and give some flyers. So I hope you enjoy. Everybody, can we have a round of applause for Nate the Great on keyboard?
So I have some singers. Can you turn this down a little bit? I have some singers that I'm going to introduce. I believe this is, one of them is the girlfriend of one of the band members, right? Come here, come on over here. Don't be shy. So we were talking up front, they were telling me how they sing. And I said, all right, hit me with the tune. And they sang for me, and now here they are. So give it up for
Baylin, Jen.
And they are the Jazz Kittens. Turn this mic up just a little bit more, she's a soft singer. Okay, there we go.
Testing, testing, okay. Alright, so, hi guys, we're from Bayside High School. We sing in the Police Show Choir. We're here to show you guys Blue Skies.
Just to, you know.
Please do it.
And now I'd like to have up Lauren. Where are you, Lauren?
Come on, boards, put it up now. I said fun horns. When the day
You know what that reminds me of? Did anybody ever see Sun Ra or Charles Mingus? And they have like these communes where people live together in a house. There was 20, 30 musicians and they played music like this. So it's kind of cool. Okay, we're gonna have Lauren sing a song. And by the way, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who contributed for tips for the band and for Kamate's Fund. Everyone's been more than generous. We appreciate you. How about a round of applause for all your neighbors? And let's give a round of applause for Miss Lauren Renee.
That's the band manager.